All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the Early Bird Special on this Saturday. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Chris Flail is in here in his Eagles garb because it is football season. We'll get into that. But we have a very special guest in here first. There's a bare knuckle boxing match going on at Tachi Palace on August 22nd. And we are talking to one of the main eventers right here, JC Llamas. Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Good morning, man. Likewise. How you guys doing?
I am very well. I know these guys are probably a little bit, more worse than than me, but I mean, I can't speak for them.
Why? Because we're old?
I didn't say that. You said
that.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I'm good, dude. I'm pumped, man. JC and I go way back. I think we brought him on about 10, 15 years ago. He was breaking into the MMA, and I saw the post a few weeks ago. I was like, dude, is he getting into bare knuckle? So, I mean, just one, congratulations. We're not a political show, but you got your hands full of all sorts of stuff going on. But how was the transition from MMA to bare knuckle? Are you doing both?
I'm doing both. I think the transition, it was in the beginning a little hard because my first opponent ever for bare knuckle boxing was #1 in the world. And I didn't know that until I started seeing clips like, man, this guy's knocking every guy in the first round. Mm-hmm. And I'm next. So it kind of got me worried, man. It kind of got me worried. But thanks to that, by the inspiration of desperation, you do great things in life. So I started training. I started figuring like new ways to fight. And man, I think it was meant for me.
I mean, I would be in there be like, oh shoot, man, I'm doing bare knuckle to try not to kick this guy in the face when trying to mix him up.
That's gonna be one of my questions is what is that transition like when you're in the ring? Because obviously in an octagon, you can do anything within their rule set, between grappling, kicking, and all of that. But bare knuckle, it's all straight boxing. And you, like we were talking before the show started, it's very precision based. So how's that difference?
I think, for example, for MMA, like you work on your legs, kicks, elbows, knees, and stuff like that. But it's the same thing like a street fight. Like if you fight on the street, you can like poke eyes, you can pull hair, bite, and stuff like that. So you train your body to do certain things that you're not allowed to do on the actual ring or the cage. Same thing with bare knuckle. You're not gonna kick, you're not gonna throw elbows because you practice, you train that. So to me, it's automatically like I know when it's time to box, I know when it's time to grapple, I know when it's time to kick or throw elbows. So I train literally almost every day, all three of those, and I know when to kick and when not to kick. And the only difference in boxing is in bare knuckle, the gloves are like 12 ounces. So it's like a little padding on the side, but it's a little wider. So the punches are easier to block. In bare knuckle, is 4 inches, 3 inches maybe. And you have to have a better, more movement, but a precise movement. Like you don't want to move all the way to the hatchet to avoid a cross. You just move 1 or 2 inches to avoid it so you can counter. So thanks to that bare knuckle thing, it makes my boxing cleaner. It makes my precision better, my speed just move just enough to avoid the punch. So I think thanks to bare knuckle, it makes my boxing better.
Does it change your training and preparation for when you do MMA fights now too? Because you may have a bare knuckle fight looming in the future, and it's not the same margin for error. Does that change your MMA, or do you just make the transition for each fight?
Like for me, it doesn't change anything because I'm also a coach and I teach every day boxing, jiu-jitsu, and MMA. So I teach every single day, all those 3 classes. So as soon as I finish boxing, I teach 1 hour of jiu-jitsu, and I'm jiu-jitsu. For people that don't know, I'm 8 times world champion in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I was ranked #1 in the world for 3 years in a row in jiu-jitsu on my first year as a black belt. And it's because of all of that. Like my boxing implement my jiu-jitsu, my MMA implement my jiu-jitsu, and vice versa. Whenever I fight people in boxing, they say it has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu, but it does. The clinching, like the inside game, it all combines. So it makes my fighting game better doing all those 3.
Yeah, when we met, I believe it was our boy, the Bandit, Brian Cobb, introduced us, and you were the jiu-jitsu king. And I mean, going into jiu-jitsu to bare knuckle fighting, and not only that, next weekend's fight, it's a title fight, right?
A world title fight. Nice. And actually, the best part, check this out. This is weird. Well, not weird. It's crazy because you never really see 2 guys from the same gym fighting on the same event. It's really rare. I had 3 guys from my gym, me and 2 other students fighting, but also the coming event is one of my students fighting for a world title at 155. So we got 2 title fights from the same gym and 1 guy doing his debut. So we got 3 people from our gym fighting at the same day.
That's incredible.
So cool.
Yeah. So when you brought up the weight, I mean, you're going at 185 at this fight?
Yes, the weight was crazy because I was 225, and then the promoter told me, "Hey, your opponent, your original opponent, he chickened out. He said he don't want to fight you. He's scared." And but there's a possibility to fight another guy at 205. And I was like, "Boy, I'm 225 right now. I only have to cut 20 pounds. Okay, send me the contract, send me the name." I didn't know who it was. I used to say, "Send me the contract, send me the name. Let's do it." And then like 3 weeks later, like 2 months, almost 2 months before the fight, they say like, "Never mind, we're gonna do 185." And I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm like 40 pounds. I'm 40
That's
pounds
a 20
over."
pound difference too.
So,
That's not
yes.
easy to lose.
So that stressed me out because on that period, like in the last, I would say like month and 2 weeks, I started like thinking like, man, I had to get like signatures. I'm running for city council, so I had to like, I knocked like almost 1,000 houses, like door to door, asking for signatures to run for city council. And a lot of them, they're like, "Oh, I'm not in your district," or "I'm not a registered voter," or another time. So I was knocking doors and cutting weight and dehydrating and not eating. It was stressful, but I made it. Like I'm like 9-10 pounds away right now, and I have like 1 week. This is easy right now.
I'm gonna tell you right now, nothing will make you lose that weight quicker than doing door knocking stuff. That's
In
Especially with
Bakersfield.
triple digits, baby.
In
Right?
Bakersfield.
105-degree weather in Bakersfield. That sucks.
I think it was 112 last time I did it. No, it was
You're
high.
an MMA fighter. You run your own gym. You're teaching. Now you got a bare knuckle that you want to throw in, and on top of that, you know what? I'll run for council as well.
Like one of the reasons why I'm running for council, I'm not a politician. I don't really focus too much on that, but I live in Bakersfield, and I notice our problems are getting worse and worse, like the high cost of living, all the nasty chemicals that they put in our food supply, what they serve our kids at school, what they teaching our kids at school. Like parents are losing control of what their kids are eating and what the kids are learning. And I notice all our farms and vegetables, they're like sprayed with like all these chemicals that they're banning, like almost like all the world except United States. Well, 100 and something countries are like banned. And I was thinking, like, why the people that are supposed to protect us are passing bills to allow these corporations to put these chemicals in our food, but they own the same pharmaceutical. So they make us sick and they give us the medicine to keep us alive. So I would say, you know what, I have to fix this. I have to figure out how I can figure out how to remove all this stuff in our food supply and our kids supply, for our kids' food supply. So I said, you know what, I gotta run for city council, but this is just the beginning. I'm gonna run for governor.
Yeah, you got to start in your own backyard. And
yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
I worked in politics for 20 plus years. Look, I stepped away. That was making me old daily. And I will know when I first saw your post, and I was like, really? And then the more I thought, I was like, dude, JC's got passion. He's got the biggest heart here in town. So I don't know what you want. You just want that you never want to sleep. I know you got a family as well. You're teaching these guys. I mean, this kid, JC, never wants to sleep, and you're just digging your hole, man, because now you're in politics. You're going to have a title belt when you're going in. You're going to be going door to door with a belt.
Is any city council member gonna want to face this dude?
That's what I was gonna say. I want to see the governor's debate, Tachi Palace, bare knuckle.
Absolutely.
He walks in and just puts his belt down. He's like, all right,
California's
let's
next
next.
governor, baby.
We're putting the incumbent to sleep.
JC Crazy Legs Llamas, our next governor. I love that. It's
So
awesome.
what do you know about this this guy you're fighting next weekend?
He's very tall. He's 6'3". He does similar things like I do. He does Muay Thai, he does Jiu-Jitsu, he does boxing with gloves, he does kickboxing, he does bare knuckle. So I'm assuming he has a lot of experience similar to me. The only difference is how much you want it. And I want this really bad. Not necessarily because of the belt. I have a lot of belts already, because it will put me in a spot that I can talk to thousands of people and express the gospel, and also make people awareness of what is happening in the community. And I can only do that if I win. When I win.
Of course.
So that's the main reason.
Well, my last question, I'll let these guys jump in, but what's next? You gonna do slapping now?
Dude, we can
Have you seen
power
that?
slap, man.
Yeah, I
We-
seen
Have you
that
seen
one.
that power slap?
One of my former students, he did that, and he actually knocked his opponent out like one.
Oh, we
And
talked to
Yeah.
a professional a couple of weeks ago, and that stuff is serious,
Yeah,
dude.
our guy Brian. Well, I can't say anything, but he may or may not have something lined up coming up here. But
Yeah,
again,
he posted a video the other night saying he's working on a title. So
if you're already doing everything else, you might
Might
as well
throw
jump
it in
in
there.
Power Slap too. See if you can win a belt over there.
I tell you why I will never do power slap.
Okay.
One of my main things in fighting is my movement. I don't like to get hit. I don't
True.
get hit. So
Yeah,
power
having to
slap,
sit there and
you're gonna
take
take
one.
a hit.
to just pull all the
Yeah.
way back, and you see those ones where they get cracked and the face balloons.
Yes,
I mean,
immediately.
I thought it was kind of like a Ocho, ESPN Ocho type thing. I didn't know how serious it was until we talked to Brian. I mean, there's so many rules. Like there's a certain portion of your face that you can only hit. It's like you can't flinch. And I'm like, I'm flinching thinking about it.
Yeah.
When you go against someone big enough and their hand is a bear claw, like you can't aim that thing. You just land in the face.
They do have some big old boys in
They
that power
do.
slap, like with a neck the size of your
Absolutely,
computer
dude.
screen.
It's
It's like, what am I going to do to this guy?
I got some friends that have hands. They work in construction. Like
Yes.
one of those hands will pull you to
Calluses,
sleep.
That's right.
dude. Just a
That's right.
callus. Oh,
I'm like,
God.
I'm not doing that.
And he don't have to worry about a takedown or anything.
Yeah.
He just gets to haul off on you.
My main question, just because you have dabbled so much in everything, what is the favorite for you? Like, is there one that you like favor more than another?
Like I used to think jiu-jitsu because I was really good at leg locks, but right now I have a lot of passion for boxing. And boxing and bare knuckle is very similar, but bare knuckle is more precision.
Mhm.
A lot of people doesn't know this, but bare knuckle is less damaging than boxing.
Really?
Because yes, bare knuckle is cosmetic. You get punched 2-3 times, you get cut, and it's over.
Oh,
In
true.
boxing with love, you get hit like 100, maybe 1,000 punches.
Yeah,
you
they
get
don't
wake up
pull
with
it.
concussion, say like give it a 10 count, and oh, he's fine. Let him go again. So that's the difference. So cosmetic wise, bare knuckle is bloody, but it's safer than boxing with gloves. It is
Interesting.
Better on the brain.
in the brain.
Much better on the brain. I didn't
100%.
consider that, but that's absolutely fair. And then when it comes to just your jujitsu and the MMA stuff, how is the training different? I mean, like, because obviously going into a fight in bare knuckle, it's much different than stepping into an octagon. But in terms of preparation, how do you prepare for a bare knuckle compared to the rest?
For example, in MMA, I train like 8 to 10 hours a day whenever I have a fight. And I divide those 8 to 10 hours a day depending on the type of fight I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna do MMA, so I add some Muay Thai in my training. I add some kickboxing, some wrestling, some judo, some grappling, and boxing, and I mix it. Whenever it's just bare knuckle, just boxing, I focus my entire time on from my hips up, like my hip movement, my bare knuckles to get my strength, my speed, my timing, my combos. I don't really study my opponent anymore because I had a bad luck. Like a lot of my opponents pull out like last minute, and I had a new opponent replacement. So I don't want to like study somebody.
Well, and it's a different kind of study, right? Between boxing and MMA. MMA, because you have so many different ways you can go about the fight, you have to know exactly what this person's good at and bad at.
Yeah.
But it seems like in bare knuckle, like you said earlier, it's more of just knowing where to land a punch, the precision.
Hit and don't get hit.
Exactly. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee in terms. But I mean, like, when it comes to that, how do you prepare for somebody who has, like you're going up against here on the 22nd, someone who has the height advantage on you, probably has a reach advantage on you?
Yeah.
How do you really combat that?
My entire career, I've been fighting people that is taller than me. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'9". So a lot of my opponents, they're like 5'3", 5'1", 5'2". My opponent is 5'3", and I fight like 2-3 guys that they're like 5'3" before. And honestly, in the beginning, I started thinking like, man, like they have a longer arm than me.
Right.
They can throw punches from high and down. And
well, that's what I'm saying. When you're saying this guy is 6'3", you're a couple inches shorter than me. I am intimidated of a man who's 6'3". So how do you really prepare?
I use that as my advantage. For example, whenever it's a tall person, it's gonna take longer for them to reach a shorter target or a smaller target.
Fair.
So I have a really decent or quick movement that the moment they throw, I move and I punch. So I want my opponent to punch so I can punch him back. So my movement is one of my, I would say my best thing, but my counter attacks are one of my best things. So how I prepare, I just get better at that.
Punch and move, punch and move.
Punch and move.
So I've got one question. So for me, for example, I just turned 40. I think we're around the same age. I almost hurt my back when I prepped to do this radio show in the morning. So you've been going at it for a while and had a really successful career. Have you thought about how's your body feel? Have you thought about how much longer you plan to do it and how many more fights? Have you targeted that?
Yes. Well, I was thinking on my head the other day, we had a conversation like that with some of my students, and I tell them, well, after this fight, I probably fight for the 170-pound title.
Okay.
Then I go to the 205, maybe defend those few times each, and then finish retire at the heavyweight fight.
Nice.
So I can get the first person in history that has 4 world titles at once.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. And yeah, my body's sore. Like I get injured sometimes here and there training, but God gave me something that I'm blessed, and it's the power of will. And until the will fall off, man.
Nice.
Now, you've already mentioned it, but you have a gym here locally in Bakersfield that you train guys at. Is there somebody that you're training right now that you want to shout out that we should all make sure we all know his name just for, when his name pops up?
Oh man, honestly, in like few years, I have like a lot of fighters, but we have some of the best boxers in the world right now in the gym. Like we are fortunate, like we training them. Like those kids are gonna be the future of boxing. I guarantee you that 100%. But I have another student that is fighting the same day as me for another world title. Naum Mendes is fighting a 155 world title. I have another student named Gary Evans. Doing his professional bare knuckle debut. I have one of the he's helping me with a lot of mitts. He moves like me. He has really good technique and just barely started like a year ago. This guy's gonna be a monster. The only thing he just needs to develop his power because he's still young. He's still like 17, but he's a beast. Angel Piedra, he's amazing. And Giancarlo Llamas, my son, he's a beast. He's 10 years old. He's one of the future of boxing. Another kid named Champ, we call it Danger. He's always in danger. He's always falling, but he's a beast too. He's 8 years old. And those kids, they move better than a lot of pro boxers in town. Like the technique, like at 8 years old, man. Like whenever I see like I don't even move like that right now. And this guy's at 8 years old, man. And I'm very proud of what we found, what we forging, what we creating in a gym. And a lot of our fighters, like you're gonna see making big noise very soon.
If anybody's listening to us right now and they want to get in contact with you to become part of the gym, how do they do that?
They can follow us on social media at Llamas Competition Team. Llamas is spelled with LLAMAS, Llamas Competition Team. And you can follow my social media as well, JC Llamas MMA. I am running for Bakersfield City Council. You guys can see our website, jcllamasforcitycouncil.com. You can see our proposals. To fix our country is not that hard. It's easy. But the problem is whenever they fix something, they start getting funds. So the moment they start getting funds, they don't get money. So that's why they don't fix a lot of the homeless problems. So in the website, I have a proposal how we can fix our problems without costing us that much money. But they treat me like I'm crazy. They don't want to fix it.
Traditionally, when you go against the grain, they will always make you seem like the crazy one, so no one listens to you.
You go up against the machine.
And honestly, like I said earlier, I don't know a lot of people that want to go one-on-one with a guy named Crazy Legs. So,
oh no, we appreciate you taking the time out. I mean, you got a little less than a week to make weight and get out there. So, big shout out, JC Llamas. Find him on Instagram and get your tickets at Big Dog bareknuckleboxing.com. That's next weekend at Tachi Palace. JC, do your thing, brother, and we'll talk to you soon.
I got one thing before we go.
Do it.
To everybody that is out there struggling, this is momentary. Everything will be okay. Remember, Christ is King. Team Llamas, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely. Thanks you, my brother. We're going to take a break real quick. We'll get into some other stuff on the other side. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. All right, we are back. Part 2 here of this episode on a Saturday. We have a ton of sports news we got to get through. Jayden Daniels is getting roasted by the internet, and the Lakers got sold earlier this week, and I'm putting my tinfoil hat on right now.
Second time in 10 months.
Again, it's got to be something on Mark Walters' end. Look, so for everybody who doesn't know, Mark Walters right now, who is also the owner of the Dodgers, is being investigated by the feds. There's some questions about where he's getting the money to pay all of these sports teams and organizations that he's owned, which is a fair statement because when you look at what the guy owned at one time, the guy owned the Lakers, the Dodgers. He has a professional women's hockey league, I believe, that he owns and runs.
So there's another $34 on top of that.
Yeah, I understand. But he's been a sports mogul is my point here. And the feds have been looking into his dealings here. And to sell the Lakers of all teams for only $2 billion more than what you bought him. I know it's only
in 10 months. Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, the Lakers, if you waited 5 years, 10 years, like he would have easily tripled that.
Who would have known that losing LeBron would have increased the price of this team? But I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, I've heard it a lot on sports talk everywhere. Everyone is like, what's really going on?
Weird. Everybody that I've seen has said that there's something going on. Law people have said there's something going on. Like,
and the players involved just make it shaky. The ownership group that's purchasing the team, that's a little, connected to this guy's being investigated by the Department of Justice.
Yeah, Bob Iger and Joshua Kushner, the brother of
close friends of his.
Kushner, huh?
Which I read is close friends of his.
Bob Iger and Walter? Yes. No, sure. That's the other thing that didn't really make sense because at the other side of the coin, as you said, the people who bought the team from him were also looking into essentially owning the Las Vegas team and getting that off the ground. So it is kind of just I'm sorry, KG's in the corner and he's absolutely throwing me off. Hi, buddy.
He does.
God damn it.
That's what he does.
Oh, you broke
me. I was reading the investigation is reportedly involving financial transactions, private credit investments connected to some of his affiliated insurance and business and the more they unlock and unopen these, I'm like, dude, what?
And the
what
point
is really
I was
going
going to get to was these two are setting up to buy a Las Vegas team and then magically just get a call saying, hey, there's another team available. It's the Lakers. That doesn't smell right to me.
Well, and it's the odd turn of a franchise that for decades has remained in one family for better and worse. That was never about this stuff. Was never about the flipping and the ownership groups and private equity and all the credit swaps and all that stuff. And it was about a lot of other unsavory things. It was about the fun unsavory things. But now of all of those years, basically with one man and his family, within 10 months, it's just been scrapped for parts and it's now being flipped. It feels like Enron style.
Right.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't necessarily worry that this is going to become a trend. I don't think every owner of the Lakers is going to turn around in 10 months and sell the franchise for $2 billion more than what they bought it for.
It'd be weird if they turn around and sell it back to him once he's cleared.
I agree with that, but we are getting to the point where I don't want to be sky is falling guy, but we are really blurring the line between where NBA has started to become FIFA-like, where you just have all this influx of money is coming in, an influx of scandal and particularly corporate scandal. I mean, both teams in LA are just mired in scandal right now.
Right.
Between the Kawhi Leonard payment, all these corporate structures and all. It's like, you can't let the dorks in, the finance guys in. We haven't talked about any basketball for the Lakers or the Clippers this summer. It's all been about structured payments and shady entities and dotted lines from one parent to subsidiary. Like, what kind of offseason is this?
I brought it up to some professional financial advisors yesterday on MoneyWise, and they were like, usually you would sell it when it's hot, like we saw with the Seahawks. They won a Super Bowl. They go and flip their team, which was a family thing that was on. But they knew, okay, well, if we wait a couple more months, get a couple bids, bid it up a little bit higher.
Right.
But obviously with every sport, there is the landmark type teams like the Lakers, with the baseball, it's the Yankees, the Dodgers. And I would be shocked, which is probably coming up right around the corner, is is he going to sell the Dodgers? But I mean, with the sell the Lakers, obviously we know with investigations going on, there's a little bit things that we're not hearing that is probably going to come into a documentary, a 4-part series or something.
Right. I guarantee you're right.
But the price of 12 something billion, that is insane.
No, it is. And that's showing how valuable these franchises are. Because I was reading the Athletic story about this, and they're saying that if you really want to justify where it sits amongst the top sports teams and how they're valued, it's about the same as the Cowboys and the Rams right now. So all of these sports franchises are really reaching the heights of billions upon billions of dollars to own them, but they're not being hot potatoed around, to billionaires who are in trouble financially because of the feds. And I agree with you. It's weird that it's all happening in LA.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the documentary, especially if Walter has to sell the Dodgers. There's going to be a massive documentary on how LA-based sports firms essentially cheated the system in sports and have been dominating because of it. Not the Clippers, but the Dodgers have. Because trust me, if they find anything connected to Walter and how the money came in for him to pay for these teams or pay for the players, like in the Dodgers sense, there's going to be questions. And we're already headed towards a lockout in the MLB. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Dodgers are in trouble. They're not. None of the contracts of these players are going to get touched. I guarantee that. But it's still going to raise a lot of questions on how often is the Clipper situation, people circumventing the salary cap, happening in every sport, not just basketball.
Yeah, and I hope you're right that some of this is a one-off, and but it could very well be that this is just the media capital where this is happening. I mean, we saw in Minnesota they basically sold the franchise to 2 owners and fought over that for a year. I just hope that this isn't pervasive.
I mean, he already broke me, and he's now stepping into the studio. Are you going to join us today, sir?
I just came in here to plug Chris Flail's comedy channel on Instagram, and where'd you get that Bret the Hitman Hart costume?
Oh, dude, I'll send you the link for it, but you got to be careful. So be ready to, if you ever get one and you put it on, be prepared to use the captions and any wardrobe things to hide, because it's very revealing.
Well, will it make me hate Goldberg any more than I already do?
Oh, you will hate Bill Goldberg tremendously, but like I said, it'll take a lot of editing to hide the old anvil from popping out. So
hey, super kick. All right, you guys, enjoy the show. Got to be next door in the studio doing some things, but yeah, hey, you guys, keep up the good work.
Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Love you guys, man.
But back to the topic.
24 kg. I'm plugging 24 karat gold on the radio.
Oh Lord. But back to the Lakers sale in general. I don't know exactly what this means for Mark Walter. I do think that this means that there's something that's going to be released here in the news very soon about his dealings. I just hope this doesn't affect all of sports, because if this is to the same level as the Clippers, where we find out this guy was using money that he shouldn't have to circumvent some sort of salary, it's not going to be pretty for whatever sporting team.
We're talking like 5-6 weeks in a row that we come in and anything related to WNBA, NBA, we're not talking basketball.
Nothing about the game.
Nothing.
No. And again, Dejanay Carrington too was actually I think there's a video of her now pretty much saying everything she said online, but even she's not backing down from what she said. And the WNBA continues to have the same problems that it has.
But you're so right. We haven't, on the NBA side too, we haven't heard from any of our draft picks at Summer League. We haven't even heard any LeBron coverage since he's been introduced to Philly. All we're seeing from Jaylen Brown is these goofy lectures that he's doing.
Has LeBron even showed up to Philly yet, though?
We have no idea.
Again, this entire season is going to be nothing but LeBron. That's why the first day you're going to get the Knicks and the Sixers, and probably Christmas Day you're going to get, I believe, them and the Cavs, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be plenty of LeBron all season long. I just hope that it's a good thing and it actually gets everybody back on the basketball side of things.
Just the moneyballization and the scandalization of everything going on right now. I'd just like to get back to the substance. This is supposed to be the release of our daily lives and all the corporate scandal and all that stuff. And now it just, as the money bleeds in, the hands just get deeper into the pot, and here we are.
And with baseball, with playoffs right around the corner, and the lockout has been really looming over the whole season.
Oh, it's
and that's what
happening.
they need. Just another little story to throw in right before the the end of the season. Let's throw in maybe what's going on with the Dodgers. And I mean, my last question before we move into some football: if this, say the Dodgers do win this, World Series. I mean, it's not looking like it right now, but it's still way early. But say they do win it, and he gets lucky and everything, the investigations all, go away. There's a lot of money involved, so things can happen.
That is a conspiracy theory going around right now, is that the fact that Walter sold the Lakers to Jared Kushner's brother, Jared Kushner being the son-in-law to one Donald Trump, that Trump had something to do with this, and Trump will now wipe away all the federal investigations against Mr. Walter. And if that happens, oh my God, could you...
My wild question is, though, how much do the Dodgers go for if they sell?
What did they sell for last time? Do we know?
To Walter, I am not sure, but as of
say they win another World Series
in 3-peat, no, the team would skyrocket in value. Maybe 15 bill, I would think, somewhere in that area. 17, maybe. Again, who knows?
They were sold for $2 billion in 2012.
Oh, they're way more than
so. My guess
now.
Is so. Yeah, my guess is
if the Rams and the Lakers are both worth $12.5 billion, like the Athletic says, the Dodgers, who have just won 2 championships and are working on the 3rd, and literally have the greatest baseball team ever created, equal that at very least. They've already made all of Shohei Ohtani's contract up in a single year.
Yeah. And obviously, being the Dodgers, it's like the Dodgers and Yankees, they're going to be the highest.
Well, and that's what I said.
But going into a year that a lockout is, you think a lockout will tarnish any of that or hurt the price of it?
Not the value of these teams. Absolutely not. It's only going to hurt the pocketbooks of the players.
Especially, I was going to say, especially if a lockout results in some more ownership management friendly terms. You pump the value up of the franchise.
That too, and the supply and demand of it all. If you take it away for, let's say, 4 or 5 months, and every baseball fan is just itching for baseball again, one, they're all going to be watching the Savannah Bananas. Let's be honest, but it's still going to really, really make them want their team back. And the minute that they get told baseball is back, or you get to go to Dodger Stadium again or Yankee Stadium, floods. And I mean floods of people that are going to just sit there and think, I have to go now, because if this ever happens again, we may never see baseball again. That's just kind of the fear people go through.
Yeah.
How crazy if he does sell the Dodgers, by the way, selling the Lakers for $12 billion and selling the Dodgers for 10 to 15 billion.
Yeah.
Stated wealth of this guy under strict scrutiny is $7 billion, and in a matter of a year and a half could triple that.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
add 20 to it.
That's why I think the feds are looking into this too, though.
I'm telling you,
no man should have this much money in this short amount of time. I'm sorry.
This much unexplainable money.
Absolutely.
That must be unique. That you just like, we don't know where this came
from.
And
another awkward story to kind of move over to a little NFL talk. I mean, more into college, but the Jayden Daniels story with his names and likeness with LSU. And I've kind of dug in more after you sent me that story, because I've seen players complain about my number or a college using my name and making money off me. But there's a lot more to this story than the ESPN headlines will say.
Yeah, that's not when I read the headline initially, I thought the same thing you did. Him just telling the college, hey, you can't use videos of me anymore. What the hell are you doing? I'm in the pros. But no, what this story really is that at least the attorney of Jayden Daniels, I'm not sure if Jayden himself asked for this, but the attorney of Jayden Daniels has sent a cease and desist letter to the LSU, to Louisiana State University, telling them that, hey, you can no longer use Jayden's name, image, and likeness or his number ever. Basically telling them, you have to retire my client's number.
Wow.
Now, for a little bit of background here, that doesn't happen in college, like at all. They don't retire numbers very often. You have to do something crazy good to get your number retired in college, especially at LSU, that has exactly one number retired, and that's number 20. I can't remember the player's name right now. It was a long time ago, but again, that doesn't really matter.
Well, the more I read into it, because I was like, oh, what a diva.
Right.
What are you trying to make money off me?
But
and
that's
I
why
want my
I'm like,
number retired. But
also,
in the write-up from the attorney is that was an agreement that Brian Kelly did with him while he was at LSU.
But see, it was a verbal agreement, the
Yeah.
same kind of thing they did with Joe Burrow,
Mhm. But no one's using Joe Burrow's number.
Well, and let's talk about it from a practical standpoint. This is an NFL 54-man roster, which rarely happens. These are college rosters, which typically employ 2,200 kids on each roster.
I mean, you're talking about people having to share numbers in certain situations. Like Florida has both defense and offensive numbers. It's dumb to ask a college to retire your number in the first place, especially when his tenure there wasn't long at all, nor was it memorable.
Right.
2, you're comparing yourself to a guy in Joe Burrow, which he is. He's pretty much saying, well, you do it for Joe, like you were just saying, Spark. They don't use Joe's number, which is a fair statement. But Joe Burrow also had arguably the greatest statistical season of any LSU quarterback of all time, had one of the greatest offenses in college football in
and LSU fired back and said his number is not retired.
No,
it just hasn't been used.
Exactly.
And
but that's where the problem is yes, it was a verbal deal with Brian Kelly, who is no longer with LSU.
Nope.
And 2 is this new coach that came in. He promised this new quarterback that played with them last year, promised him the number. So it's nothing like, and even the player came out and said, dude, I don't give a shit about the number.
When you mentioned it, Jayden Daniels' career, not to be disrespectful, he was great. But compared to Joe Burrow's, his record, so he was 2 years as a starter at LSU, Jayden Daniels was. His record, 19-7.
Yeah.
No national title.
Nope.
No SEC title.
That second season where he won the Heisman, the team was awful, too.
They weren't even SEC champs.
No.
During his time.
No.
How do you get a jersey? I mean, when you think of the history of LSU, how do you get a jersey retired? I think there's been 4 or 5 jerseys retired in the history of LSU, and I don't think there's been one in the last 30 or 40 years.
We were talking about it when the Deion Sanders and Hunter numbers got retired at Colorado. It doesn't happen very often, but even they didn't deserve to have their numbers retired. Right. So why the hell does Jayden deserve to have it retired? If they're not going to retire number 7 for Tyrann Mathieu and every other person, Leonard Fournette, and all these incredible players that have used number 7 at LSU, if they're not going to retire number 9 for Joe Burrow or number 1 for Jamar Chase or any of the other guys.
It's like the same thing I agree with the Raiders. That was one good point that Al Davis always made. He said, we can't retire numbers. We wouldn't have any numbers to play with.
Exactly. And why care?
Yes.
Why care?
It's all about money at the end of the day.
Right. But I mean, we've talked about it with that exact point. I get if your entire brand is based around your number as well, TB12, CP3, Lamar Jackson now, what he's doing, I get wanting your number being retired because it's part of your brand. But it's not part of Jayden Daniels' brand to be number 5.
Yeah.
So,
and also when you've been retired for 15 years, the kids who are growing up in the new generation are not going to care about your number. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not, it's Jumpman 23 to us, but to my younger brother, who's 19 years old now, it's just Jordan brand sneakers. Yes. They don't care about, and that's the pinnacle, let alone you've got, all due respect to CP3, but 30 years from now, kids aren't going to be going, oh yeah, the number.
Yeah, they're not going to be thinking of Chris Paul. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. And honestly, there's a lot of number 3s I'd put in front of Chris Paul. But
there's a good list for a future week.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then there's enough things where he should be probably worried about coming off an injury.
The team being absolutely garbage last year. I mean, again, this entire
getting his mommy out of training camp would be a nice start.
Yeah, and last night they lost their quarterback.
Stephon Diggs looked like he's trying to retire her from the sidelines. I don't know if you saw that. They were having a nice chat.
Again, because this just highlights his immaturity. Like, if he asked his attorney to do this, because all I'm hearing is that the attorney asked for this, and I've even seen like comments and stuff from him saying, I'm locked in on training camp. I'm not really paying attention to what's going on. So this could all just be his attorney reaching out, telling him, hey, knock it off. We don't want you using our guy's stuff. But either way, it's still your representation. You already have a bad stigma, I guess, above you for being a mama's boy because mom's everywhere with you. You can't even talk to a girl without mom telling you yes or no.
Been there.
So, again, you were there at 16 years old, though. Yeah.
My question is, and I think I already know the answer, but how much control do you think should a former college superstar have over his school continuing to profit off his name and number and likeness? And
again, the name, image, and likeness part of it, they should not be able to use you after you leave the college, in my opinion. But if your number is like, if you were good enough for your number to be retired, then you're like, I feel like that's fine. You can go through it that way, just like you would with the pros. But like I said, in this situation, you have to actually do something to be one of those guys.
Me personally, I think the amount of money these college are paying these kids, I think if you paid or played there, I think it should have some
sort of
type of
licensing
50-50 where they can use you and you could use them.
I imagine you'll start to see those type 360 deals of like, we can use you in perpetuity for
Mhm.
blank amount of money. But I think you go the Joe Burrows route. You see, they asked him about it, and he's like, I don't care. I've got a 6-11 season to prepare for.
And
Exactly. And I think that's where Jayden should be keeping his mind, but maybe it's his
Look, I got to lead my team to go 7-10 again, guys. I can't think about
trying to play more than 5 games this year.
kids college
first
stuff.
play for them too. He's getting sacked already, and I'm just like, God, dude, we're already back. We're already back for the Cincinnati Bengals already. And again, it's just, I think this entire thing just highlights his immaturity. I'm glad literally everybody from sports pundits to people online are all roasting him for this because of how just ridiculous this is. And I hope Jayden, if he did ask for this, kind of takes this as a lesson and a, humbling situation where he realizes, oh shit, I may not be the superstar from LSU that I thought I once was. I am a great quarterback here in the NFL.
So another list for the future is top 5 pro athlete mama's boys. We got Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant for sure.
I hate to say
Carl
this.
Anthony Towns.
Carl. Well, that's
I mean, but again, not in a bad way, but he is a mama's boy. He's
Allen Iverson to go old school.
I do
Michael
have a
Jordan?
question for the
Michael
end of
Jordan?
the show. So we'll have a different wild question to ask you guys at the end of the show, like we always do. But I mean, overall,
overall what
with this Jayden story,
I hope it all gets taken care of quickly, and just, as somebody tells Jayden inside of his camp, dude, just drop this shit. Leonard Fournette, again, another audio bite I had was Leonard Fournette on his podcast pretty much telling him, dude, just let this go. Like, I had number 7 and had to, go through all these hoops to get it. Like, it's really not like that. You just need to let it go.
Well, and a lesson to the Gen Zers in the world is sometimes a phone call beats a letter.
Yes.
Before you have your attorney sending out correspondence, a lot of people at the university.
I wonder if it was his
Maybe
mom,
they
dude. I
did.
forgot. I watched that quarterback show, and she's all up in his business.
Pick up the phone.
That's a problem, in my opinion. That's a problem.
We've talked about it over the years about parents and athletes.
Yes. And again, I appreciate a parent trying to protect their kid. I do.
See, I'm on the fence right now because my son just turned 17. I'm like, I got to give him space without being the parent that's stepping in his business.
Right. But again, all of this just points towards immaturity. And that's a bad thing if you are in a professional football world. It is, especially if you're playing quarterback. They need you to be a leader and be a man and be able to make decisions on your own, not look at mom and say, is this okay? Yeah. Can I date this girl? Is Juju okay for me? Yeah. And I'm just like, God,
meanwhile,
I'm over this.
Meanwhile, she's, like I said, she's chopping it up on the sideline with Stephon Diggs, just the ultimate slinger in the history.
Is that what happened?
Well, I just saw footage of them chatting it up on the sideline. I'm like, oh my God, you're telling him he can't go out on a date with Juju, and look at the absolute.
He's like, what's up with that pink stuff?
Maniac.
Right? It's like, oh, I saw your parties. Can I get on the boat? Like, God,
get that boat.
But preseason is here.
Exactly.
We are starting up. The Raiders lost their game, no surprise. But I mean, Fernando looked pretty solid. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, was there the good, the bad, the ugly? Anything that shot out to you guys with the first round of games of week 1?
Well, I'll take the ugly if you guys want to take the good and the bad. The ugly is my Falcons, because my God, do we look terrible.
Put them in the bad too.
Dude, just the first drive with Tua Tagovailoa, and he can't freaking handle a snap.
Well, in his post conference afterwards, he's already in mid-season form
of
throwing the team under the bus.
This one before.
And everybody who looked at me and said, "Oh, you'll be fine. 2 left-handed quarterbacks." Shut up. This is going to be a rough year.
Yeah.
I am not going to be. No.
Well, that's Denver, right? Too.
Yeah.
So that's a defense is going to get after you right off the bat.
And it's only preseason.
And it's preseason. It's typically it takes a while to get the offense.
Even Cooper Rush looked bad, but I think
our
the problem
uniforms look ugly as hell too. Like, we look like the Cardinals.
Do you think it's the offensive line? I mean, obviously Tua is going to have Tua issues, but and he'll sprinkle in some good games in there. I promise.
It's definitely a combo of it because we have 2 solid guards, but outside of that, our offensive line has been skeptical the last couple of years. Jake Matthews is getting old. This is probably going to be his last season, if not one of his last seasons. And we need somebody at the right tackle position. I believe Caleb McGarry retired, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't really have a solid right tackle, which is now our blind side.
All right.
Because we got 2 left tackles or 2 left-handed quarterbacks. So yeah, it's going to be an ugly year. But yes, Tua's going to Tua. And well, at least the Falcons will be the center of a lot of memes this season.
You'll get your hopes up here and there, and then you'll be like, oh shit, it's Tua.
Anybody got some good though? I mean,
there was some good stuff.
It's been awfully quiet out of Philly for me. I haven't seen much news at all, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. I've been very happy about that. So yeah, people are starting to get their money. No scandalous news. I'm okay.
If I'm in the NFC, though, that's what I'm worried about, is that if there's nothing coming out of that Eagles camp and you guys are back to being focused and around what you need to be, if you get back to that Super Bowl winning form, I don't know if there's anybody in the NFC that can beat the Eagles.
There was one story that came out of Philly, and it was more of the whoever does their social media, because they did catch some beef this week because they posted a video and it said it's about that, or it's that time. And they show Jalen throwing a pick. But they didn't look at the flip side. It was their rookie that had the interception. But a lot of the media was like, why are you going to put your boy out there like that throwing a pick in practice?
I mean, you normally don't do that, though.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, teams, franchises, people need to get these social media managers, especially whoever their Twitter person is, in check. Like, what do you think at best is going to happen? Like Wingstop, if your tweets are awesome, like how much value is this going to add versus you could absolutely tank things for the company? And how many times do we see a social media manager for a sports team post something and absolutely bury themselves in the news for the next week?
Oh, I mean, unless you're trying to be Wendy's, there's really no good way to do that, though. Yeah. And the one team that always does well, though, and I have to give them love, especially with their schedule releases, is the Chargers. I've never once heard somebody in the Chargers social media team get any grief just because they're really good at what they do. But you're right. Actually, I heard McAfee talking about it this past week, too.
Country music star, Pat McAfee.
God, don't get me started. I love Pat, but God, the stuff that he does sometimes, I'm just like, you're just trying to get people pissed off at you.
And I get shout out to Adam Vinatieri, took that shot.
Oh, that was the greatest Hall of Fame speech of all time.
Shout out to Mrs. Vinatieri.
The greatest Hall of Fame speech of all time. I don't care what people say.
That was tremendous.
But McAfee even brought it up as well. Like, that's a very important job now, especially with the interaction you need to be having with your fans and other people's fans. Like, you need to be on top of your game. So you're right. Like, some of these guys do need a little bit of a chin check and just realize, I need to get on my game, or somebody's going to be coming up and taking my job.
And you're allowed to be boring. Some things should just be boring.
Yes.
Airlines, boring. I don't need Ryanair to be awesome. I want to be in the plane feeling comfortable that it's going to stay in the air until it's ready to come out of the air.
Right.
I don't need them to be awesome. As a guy who's really funny and could do better at some of the things he's supposed to in real life, I don't want people being funny and things like, I don't want my surgeon to be hilarious.
Right.
Like, and you've got these, everything has to be, everyone's got to be a comic now. I'm like, look, you can just.
Well, it's the easiest way to advertise in their defense. I mean, the easiest way to get people's attention is to make them laugh.
Sure,
so.
but okay, the Chargers do it the best. But if they're an $8 billion franchise, is their social media manager being awesome going to take them to $9 billion? It's like, what are you doing? Yeah. This is only downside.
Right. Well, and it's not like their overall, internet fame will get anybody to show up to SoFi anymore.
Dude, I was swapping the propane out on my grill the other day, and I look at the bottom of the tank and it says, "Follow us, Blue Rhino at Instagram." And I'm like, "What? Why?"
Oh, you got me now.
Why does Blue Rhino need to have a pop in Instagram? Like, you're just there.
Oh man,
you're there. But that's
who I want to find. You know what? Hank Hill. That's their only fan.
It's just the commodification.
Propane accessories.
It's the commodification of everything. So everybody has to be Mr. Beast now.
Yeah. And a few good things I saw in last night. One was the Chargers. The first time we've kind of seen Mike McDaniel's offense with the Chargers. I think they almost got 400 yards in that first game. It's preseason, and I'm still gonna back the Chargers losing their quarterback in the first 6 weeks like normal. But
Fair.
a few different things. Fernando, yeah, he looked good in his first game. There was some rookie things that you saw in him, but
10
for-
of 16,
for a
97
team like
yards,
that
pretty
that
solid
needs a
stuff.
quarterback, I think it's a step forward.
Mm.
I still think Kirko is gonna fuck up their season, and then we'll see what he has to do.
Well,
but
They could start 1-7 for all we know.
you know the
as long
problem
as it
is,
starts at 0-1, I don't
That's
care.
what I said.
you know how Kirk really messes up a team is he does all right for 6 weeks,
All right.
and then the wheels. I don't think they're going to start
he-
1-7. I think they're going to start like 4-3, and you're going to go, yeah, we might have something, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're 4-9, and now you don't know what to
they're
do
gonna
with
be
Mendoza.
They're going to be one of those teams where everyone's like, oh, maybe they'll be good enough to make a wild card spot. And then Kirk gets hurt, but doesn't want to tell anybody. And
He's
going to
Ryan Fitzpatrick the daylights out of that team.
And one other one that popped out after last night was the Steelers. Drew Allen.
Yes.
He had a hell of a
Drew
game,
Allen
and
was
he looks like a
killing.
guy that is probably almost ready.
Well, and that was one of the questions with the Pittsburgh Steelers, since Aaron Rodgers is in his final season and they have two young guns, one being Will Howard, one being Drew Aller, and both of which I think are going to be fighting for that job next year. One, because they have they have Aaron Rodgers' blessing. That's Will Howard. The other one, though, Drew Aller could play, dude. Like he could
Rudolph
play.
still there.
He could play when he was at Penn State. But because of the injury, everybody kind of wrote him off. But if this kid could figure it out at the pro level, I'd love to see a resurgence.
And they might be fighting for it this year. We still got to bank on the old man getting through an entire season in a cold weather city.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing, is seeing how Aaron does. Did you see that Cam Newton actually came to his defense the other day as well?
No, what'd he say?
Oh, well, Cam was talking about how everybody was up in arms about the COVID vaccine a couple years ago and how Aaron was obviously at the center of that. He straight up said, dude, there are people that are in the league, execs, owners, players, et cetera, that all claim to have gotten the shot, never did.
Wow. Well, so this tells me one thing, that Cam Newton got fired from ESPN. He ain't coming back if he's out.
Heck no. He's selling everybody out now.
If he's out here doing sound bites like this, that means he got fired.
Yes,
JC
sir.
dropping off some
Oh,
love.
man.
Good to see you again, sir.
Yeah,
Oh,
love the
man.
swag.
You're already my favorite fighter in the city, but on the planet, I'm going to tell you now, I'm such a t-shirt whore.
You're in the right industry then. 'cause
Right.
That's pretty much all we get in radio these days is free t-shirts.
That's how they pay you.
Oh,
And I will
man,
say,
that's
as a
awesome.
Dolphins
Look at
fan, it
this.
was the first time I
Thank
got
you
to
for
see Malik Willis in a Dolphin uniform. And yes, in Dolphin fashion, they start off with the preseason game is fumbling the kickoff. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Another Dolphin season. And Malik goes out there,
Well,
95-yard drive. And I was happy with what I saw. He did one drive, was 4 for 5, 90-plus yards, and got a touchdown in there. So
Well,
I was happy.
and as I told you on Tuesday, I have a good feeling that the Dolphins might end up being one of those sleeper teams this year. No one's talking about them, but they haven't exactly taken a massive step backwards. In fact, they've gotten better at certain areas. There's still question marks at the wide receiver position, but that doesn't mean anything in the NFL these days. Like you brought up, the Packers have made have made careers for many no-name wide receivers when they've been trying to find their number one guy since Devontae left. So,
Caleb Douglas, baby. He looked good, though.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, there are areas where the Dolphins, I think, are going to shock people. And especially early in the season, I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins started 3-1, 4-0, and shocked everybody. And everyone's sitting there saying, oh, God, is this going to be a third team in this AFC
what a
East?
fantastic-
I never pick against my team. It's 17-0 and one game at a time. As long as they start 1-0 against the Raiders, if we start the season losing to the Raiders, it is going to be a long season. And
Either way, you're going to be there to talk to
I'll
them
be
about
playing
it.
fantasy football, so I just don't care. But it was happy. I was happy personally, not only to see Malik Willis, because
Well,
the guy's got a cannon. He doesn't hesitate as much as I had to see with Tua for the last 3 or 4 years.
don't get me started.
And the last one is when he decides to take it and run.
Yes.
He takes it and runs.
Yes.
There was no like I
No,
was so used to with Tua, like just throw the ball, or he holds the ball too long, or he's just like he gets happy feet. And that's what I saw with the first game with Malik Willis that he doesn't have happy feet.
I'm glad he's doing that for you guys, because I remember when he was being drafted in that draft class, and it was the same year Atlanta needed a quarterback, and everyone was asking me, who do you want? Who's the guy you guys want to take? And I knew we were going to wait that year until the second round to get one. I was really hoping that one was going to be Malik Willis, because everything that I saw him do at Liberty was exactly what you wanted a mobile quarterback to do: run with purpose, not be afraid to run someone over. Was he a great thrower? Not really, not yet, but it looks like, at least in the first couple of years with the Titans and the Packers, he's kind of figured that out. So I think that Malik is going to have a very, very prosperous year for you.
And that was, I think that's what it was. I think that's why it is a good signing so far, is that he's got a couple years under it. He's said it multiple times on podcasts and interviews that he has grown.
Yes.
And to be able to have the opportunity to go with Hafley and go with a team that he has coached with and played with and read their offenses. He knows how their defenses are. And I think it's just the growth. And I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited every time this year, around this time of the year, but
as he should be.
But if they start 3-1, what a version of Sparky we will get in the studio.
Dude, this is going to be a whole different world. Trust me.
We'll
because I'm going to be the sad sack this year because my team is absolute garbage. But hey, it's okay. I just got to wait another year, and either one of these new rookie quarterbacks that's coming in is going to come save us, or maybe Shedeur Sanders gets shipped over, because it seems like the Cleveland Browns.
Watson.
Now we're talking.
No. I don't. He said F you to us when he signed with the Browns. If you remember, he took that Falcons jersey and threw it in the back and threw up the Cleveland thing and said, we're going to Cleveland. I said, all right, fuck you then. You don't deserve to be in Atlanta.
Well, that just makes the perfect story when he goes back. And
you don't deserve to be in Atlanta.
No.
If you don't love me at my 6-11, you don't deserve me at 8-9.
Exactly.
You understand me?
1,000%. You know what? 8 and 9 gets us in the playoffs.
That's in, baby.
That's in.
Well,
That's a home game in the playoffs.
For the next couple of weeks, we'll definitely get into some more football, but we're already an hour in, and there is plenty to talk about in the world of wrestling.
Yes, there is. What'd you guys think of last night's SmackDown? I know some of us, including myself, haven't seen the whole episode, but I was very pleased to see they did not make Chelsea drop that belt. Yes. I was really worried with the way that promo was starting, that we were going to get the traditional, I'm sorry, but you're not medically cleared. I have to take this away from you. But then Nick Aldis made the switcheroo on us and actually played to the fans and said, nah, she's not going anywhere. Give you 30 days. You get healed. You get a face mask, which she's done in the past already.
Well, and I hope they've learned something, because you got to see last night just how over she is with the crowd. She deserves
people love her.
She deserves a long title run and to carry the SmackDown franchise for some period of time. She's about to take a shot.
Oh, don't pour it on Spark. That's not nice. Love you, buddy. No, and I agree with you. It's at a point now, and I think this really all hit ahead with that season of Unreal when Michael Hayes said she's not a main eventer, and everybody really kind of saw what backstage thought of her.
Yeah.
And all the fans said, oh, hell no, this woman deserves to be in that.
And now that she's finally stormed the castle and gotten the belt, now you get to look and go, okay, what are you saying she doesn't have?
Right.
Boy, in her promo last night, pretty much she put it all out there.
Yes.
She's like, dude, I've taken cake to the face. I've, been in trash cans and garbage matches.
Penta.
Yeah, but I mean, that is even
too.
Before WWE. But I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, what are they going to do? I'm hoping that the WWE does that, where we get a rematch with her and Penta, because I think she'll have the respect. But this woman has gone through the ups and the downs and, different factions, different this. And she is always, like she had mentioned, I'm the guy, I'm the woman that has to fight, the next big thing.
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yeah. And exactly. What is she missing now that she has the belt? She's big enough. She's strong enough.
She's
She's athletic enough. She's a badass. She's a great worker in the ring. She can play any character in any storyline. She's got the look. She's got the following. She's got the locker room.
She's got everything.
What else do you need besides these other people that you're strapping a rocket ship to that appear not to be ready?
Right.
So if you are in a hurry to hot potato this title off of her, for what reason now that they've finally placed it on her? This could be a really good thing for them to go, I can't find a good reason to take it off of her now.
No. Well, and we were talking about, I think last week or the week before, maybe it was on Tuesday, it was just me and you, Spark, but the need to kind of give these people who have earned their due.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans are really itching for that. although we love Obafemi, we love Braun Breaker, we love all these stars that we've been getting, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, but when it comes to giving these guys their due and what they deserve because they've worked that hard, Chelsea has been due this for a long, long time, in my opinion. And like you said, like she said last night, she has done literally everything that this company has ever asked her to do. I love that her husband finally got some sort of relevancy last night.
They did him dirty. I will say that.
They did do him dirty.
You
but
can't
again,
get tapped out defending your old lady.
And you come out with your brown hands like his fucking hand was dipped into a pile of shit. I'm like, that's spray tan.
That's his spray tan. Which
And
is so bad,
if you don't want to get tapped out defending your old lady, Team Llamas MMA. I told you I'm a t-shirt whore. I got 2 more of those before the episode ends.
No, but I just think that it's a good sign, because if this goes well for Chelsea, we may get that opportunity for people like LA Knight and others that have been honestly deserving of this type of
We're going to do the tour, the Give Back tour, where
Yeah,
we've already had to give it to Sammy. We've done the CM Punks. We've done, one thing is I hope they do it, but I just hope they can, because we're going to get into the writing. I know KG is around here. He probably heard me. If I say his name a couple more times, he'll run in, because we were talking about the writing. But now when you're looking at the fight card, you have to actually look at the city where they're at and what wrestlers are from there and this and that and this. And I'm like, dude, just let the genuine wrestling writing come back.
Right.
Because I think that's when I know one of the main topics is the AI that they've mentioned. Is AI is taking part in some of these writing the feuds. I mean, I wrote down yesterday while I was watching SmackDown. I mean, there's 10 to 12 feuds going on right now that are all pay-per-view,
but
ready.
You'll never see them there.
And we'll never see them. But I mean, even the fights, the stories that are going on right now, I mean, just to mention, there's tons of them going on right now, not only with, the Cody Orton, there's so many different stories going on right now, whether it's KO and CM Punk, Orton and Cody, Oba and Braun, Trick and Corbin, LA, if we see LA and Roman. I mean, there's a lot of good stories going on. And just to kind of throw in these guys, like, that's where I'm lost with, like, the Cardona. He's here and here. The guy that's planking all the time. There's so many different stars that aren't getting any love, but I agree with both of you guys, because if they were going to start out SmackDown last night taking her title, which is an interim title, which a lot of people are writing and saying, well, why would they do that to her if they're not doing it to Rhea? Right. Everyone else has to give up their belts, but this one, Rhea's, it's interim until she's ready to come back. And I'm like, maybe I'll ask the guys, why is it so different for somebody like Rhea, which I understand she is the QB1 in the women's side of it.
Fair.
But, everyone else, Seth Rollins, everyone else has to give up their title when they get injured.
Well, shit, Finn Balor had to give up his, and he's never gotten it back. But
right. And the truth is, some people just get lost in the fray. Like I'm sure you've done hiring and promoting and things like that before. And sometimes, and it's probably happened to you at times, when you're in the thick of it, sometimes you realize how irrational some of these decisions come to be. And sometimes people just get missed.
Well, I think that's part of it. But I also think you kind of highlighted it by calling him QB1. I think there is a level to that in this industry, just as there is with every other industry. When Joe Burrow goes down, you're not going to sit there and just give QB1 over to Joe Blow.
Flacco's name.
Exactly. Joe Flacco. That's a great way to put it. You're not going to give it to Joe Flacco when Joe Burrow is ready to come back. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that it's deserving to be an interim title. I hate that they're calling it the interim women's title. This is a women's champion that took the belt when the other women's champion went down with an injury.
Yeah.
But in all reality, like we said, when, this was talked about a couple weeks ago, when you predicted that she could potentially win, when you put Chelsea in a match against a Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, it's harder to believe that she will beat one of those three. Not because she's not a good wrestler, but because that's just how the storylines go in the industry.
And that's the narrative. You bring up a great example with Joe Burrow. Like you could, on paper, the last couple of years, based on how that team has performed, depending on the narrative, if every sports show for the last 2 or 3 years framed it in a certain way, we could look at Joe Burrow in a completely different manner than we do. We basically talk about him like he's Joe Montana without the resources.
Yes.
But if Josh Allen has a season like Joe Burrow's team has had in the last 3 or 4 years, we would bury him. And to be honest with you, I don't have a good articulation as to why. And sometimes that just happens.
Honestly, I think it is kind of just the likability of the two and how both are really shown in the media. Because if you really look at Josh Allen, he's seen as Superman because he literally is doing everything on his own.
With Herbert.
Right. Same with Herbert. Whereas Joe Burrow's really just the likable, suave Joe Namath. Like you love to like the guy.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And the same, like you said, you've got a Rhea Ripley who's an absolute superstar.
Yes.
But she's considered in a different standard than a Chelsea Green, who has everything that Rhea has.
Right.
She just hasn't gotten the same push to get over the same way.
Right.
And I would argue that she's in a similar stratosphere anyway.
Yes.
Even without that push, but she just hasn't gotten that push. And part of it is the momentum of, because she hasn't gotten that push and someone else already has it, she's never going to quite get that push. Like you've got these superstars like Edge versus Cena. Like we clearly have a different delineation in our minds.
And that's actually a great comparison because like we've always said, Edge never held on to the belt for more than a month.
Yeah.
But we all talk about him as if he was one of the greatest of all time.
He had just as much heat. But if you asked us in our most honest moment, we go, yeah, I can't put him with Cena. But why? I have no idea why.
No, he was just always seen as most anticipated heel.
And which brings me back to, in an odd way, I love the attitude of Jade Cargill and that whole rivalry with Rhea, for someone to come in and say, I don't accept I'm not accepting where someone that I don't even obscurely understand has decided where all this is slotted. I'm better than her.
Right.
I love that attitude.
No, I love the attitude, but I think the problem with Jade is just all the negative things that have been shown within the ring. And it's really starting to become much like the Damian Priest situation. You can't hide it anymore. The internet has taken it and ran with it, which is why I think they didn't give her the belt, because whereas if you would compare her to a Chelsea Green or a Charlotte, their matches are squeaky clean every single time. There's never a problem. You can't have your main champion, your number one person in the company, making those kinds of mistakes.
You just give Chelsea a pinch of whatever that is, that the attitude that Jade has toward the management and locker room.
I think that's where they're walking on eggshells, is because of the follies, the kind of mixed, messed up parts, a little timing. Because I mean, we saw that 2 weeks ago on Raw or SmackDown. It was where they put Jade in the main event. I think it was with Charlotte.
It was like 3 botches.
Yeah. And back to back to back.
Yes.
And I was like, and then a couple weeks before that, her wig fell off. And it's just stuff that happens and I think that's why they walk on eggshells with people like LA Knight, you know what I mean? Sammy, Jade. And I think I almost go back to with the Rhea Ripley is she's almost like Cody. Like they don't need a belt.
No, exactly.
And they're going to be your quarterback one without it.
Right. But because they have the belt, there's more of a semblance for it. Yeah. And you can't take it from
them. And when money time rolls around next spring, you know who's going to have the belt.
Yeah. You know who's going to be in WrestleMania. You know who's going to be fighting.
I don't know who's going to have it at Christmas, but I know who's going to have it on June 1st.
Yeah. And they made a big announcement, which I think is genius, but they moved the Saturday night main event to a Sunday night main event because it's the last Sunday for the rest of the year without football. It is the Sunday before Labor Day. So I'm like, yeah, you better capitalize on that Sunday while you can.
At least somebody's capitalizing.
Right.
Good for them.
Absolutely. But again, it doesn't really matter if the card itself doesn't live up to it.
Right.
And a lot of these Saturday night, Sunday night main events have fallen flat on their face. I think the last one that was good was the John Cena. The John Cena retirement one. I think that's the only one that really I could sit there and say, wow, this one felt like a PLE. Everything else has just kind of felt like a random Saturday show.
I think it's time for another. I can't remember what do they call it, Evolution or something like that.
Yes, the women.
I'd rather see one of those than another Saturday night main event at this point. And you don't even have to call it. I don't even think they should call it that anymore. Just happen to have
Sunday Night
PLE
Heat or something.
a PLE that's 3/4 or more
Well,
of
they're in
those
mind.
matches.
They promote it that way so they can raise the prices on tickets
Exactly.
and get a bigger venue. But I mean, there's a couple things that I caught from SmackDown that, one was the Melo
Mello and Corbin.
Mello and the gay biker dude. I can never remember his name.
Corbin.
He's
You're gonna
so
have to be
creepy.
more specific.
He's so creepy, dude. But
Priest,
yes,
Baron,
I mean, even with the
Undertaker.
priest thing, I mean, I'm
War
hoping
Raiders.
that the priest
War Raiders are
are
good.
truth. I think the War Raiders. I think the MFTs now that his dad is back. I
They're
love that.
So different now.
I love that.
Love it too.
But I love the Street Profits, and I don't like the way they get respected in that. I mean, they get the belt for 24 hours and they take the shit away from them. But I'm hoping that this is now the chapter, losing the belts last night, that R-Truth and Damian Priest can do their own thing. We have enough great tag teams right now.
Well, in R-Truth, you could throw him in with anybody and he's comedic gold.
Right.
I would love for them to put him and Danhausen together finally and do something. And I do think they are going to send Damian down to AAA. I think their plan is to have him be kind of the new big bad in that, or on that show,
As he should.
because they don't really have that. Like they tried to do it with Omos for a while, but he never really reached that level where you could really see him with the AAA Mega Championship.
What is it with him that they don't use him?
I don't know.
In ring.
I don't know if it's kind of like the same thing you see with the MLB and the NFL, where if you can't fluently speak the language, because you have seen that a lot with wrestlers, especially with people like Julia, where if you can't really grasp the language, it's hard for them to put you on television because American viewers won't.
Unless it's
connect with
cute,
you.
like Io.
Even in AAA, he just seems to have limited physical usage, and I
Yes.
wonder if he's got
really
some.
just a bodyguard.
Does he have some injuries stacked up, or are they worried that he's so big that once you implement him, it's hard to work anyone else through there? I've never understood why they tried him out as this inclimbable mountain every now and then, and then I don't see him again.
My thought, and the only thing that's making me believe otherwise on my own point here is, and I'll bring it up at the end, but my thought is maybe they don't have a trainer that can really train someone of his stature, like physically, literally, because again, the man is over 7 feet tall, 300 plus pounds. How do you teach that man how to wrestle unless you are that size? Now, the only argument and why he's down in AAA, in my opinion, the only man that could teach you is The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he's down there, but why it's taken so long for them to do that, I don't know. I don't know if maybe he has some sort of issue learning the craft at that time, but I think there will be a time for him eventually. Otherwise, they're just going to keep throwing him out in these Royal Rumbles as the big guy that clears the match for everybody, and then everybody teams up on him.
I feel like they use that super little guy that he's always paired
Yes.
that he gave the kick to more than they use him, and it's got to be harder to train him.
Mini Vikingo or whatever.
The real tiny little.
Or are we talking
peanut. The real little peanut?
No, you're talking about the manager, and I can't remember his name. But regardless, I'm excited though for AAA. Not to shift over to that, but did you see last week's episode?
No.
Okay, so Psycho Clown has been tormented for the last couple months, and as well as the rest of the Psycho Circus, and they haven't really brought up who that is yet. But last week they showed who it is, and for LFG fans, you'll know exactly where I'm going. It's my boy Drake Monroe. I don't know exactly what his name's going to be in AAA. They gave him a mask and everything, and it looks awesome. But the Bayou Boy has finally made his appearance on AAA. I hope we finally get some sort of idea of how this is going to work. And I'm assuming Roxanne Perez, his girlfriend, has taught him a little bit of Spanish. So we'll see how this goes.
Fantastic.
You're about to see a Florida boy, though, attempt to speak Spanish to a whole bunch of Hispanics. And it's either going to go really, really good or really, really bad. So I think this is going to be pretty dang entertaining.
Fantastic.
I love it. But is there anything else from SmackDown you guys wanted to highlight before we get to that?
I mean,
question of the
there's
day?
a few things. Obviously, I love having Haku back. Fatal Influence. I mean, we all knew that she was going to get the title, but now that they have all three belts that they can.
And kudos to Fallon Henley, too, for reminding me of one of NXT's best promos when they both were there. But if you saw her social media afterwards, she posted pictures saying that she was going to take Tiffany back to the barn, making reference to when she beat Tiffy back in NXT. And the deal was, if you beat me, I have to go work on a farm with you for a whole day, which is when Fallon was a face and Tiffy was the heel. but it was one of the best just NXT fun promos between the two because they did make Tiffy in all her pink Barbie-ness go out to a farm for a day and work as a farmhand.
That's
it was
probably
great.
Well, that was definitely the match of the night. Tiffy and JC,
Yes.
they stole the night. And I was thinking last night when I was watching it that not only with the three, I know you've talked about it in the past. You said there could be a time where there's 3-man tag teams.
Yeah, trios.
And I was trying to think last night. Okay, it was Fatal Influence. And now it's starting to see like they're pushing it. We have Charlotte, Alexa, and this new chick.
Yep.
Which is really weird.
Tatum Paxley.
And
Again,
they
she's
put 'em
going to
in the
grow on you.
closet.
She's
I like
going to
her.
grow
She
on
will.
you.
But the whole spin that they did with her in the room, the dark room with Charlotte's pictures all over. I was like, oh,
well,
okay.
that's Tatum's entire thing, though. Is she's really obsessive. She's that like creepy girl in everybody's high school that was goth that like never had friends, but when she did have friends, she was overly friendly,
overly obsessive.
Yeah, obsessive. Exactly.
Well, they got the Meechin, Jade, and BFAB. And then I was thinking, okay, well, Fatal Influence, how cool would it be to throw in a match with them in Judgment Day or something like that?
I feel like a women's trios championship would be
It would
great.
be awesome. And it would probably take away what shit they've done with the tag team.
Right. And that was my next point is the men have 2 tag teams to go up for. The women only have 1. So why not let them start out with the trios, see how it works with the fan base if people are going to be into it. And you're right. They have been quietly building these 3-woman factions for months now. You now have a handful of them that look like they could compete for them. Open up with a trios championship at some point, maybe at a new Evolution or Revolution or whatever you want to call it. And it sets up a whole different game for the women's division to really jump into.
That's tremendous. We already talked about how beneficial we think a mixed tag belt situation could be.
But they
triple belt for triple a tri tag team would be tremendous.
It just makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, AEW is king at this because they have so many belts. And I've said it months ago and I still stand on it. There are too many in AEW.
They're just doing stuff over there.
They really are. But the WWE is really starting to follow in suit. And, there's a lot of championships now that they dish out to everybody. But a trios has always been left out in the WWE, which has never made sense to me because your factions are all at least 3 people. And could you imagine if they had a trios championship belt when Evolution was going or, when the Wyatt family was going? Like,
they'd probably still have jobs.
Yeah, probably. You're absolutely
right.
And
I think Nikki Cross is coming.
I don't know, dude.
I have a feeling that interview I watched last week.
So you did see the same one? Okay, good. She seemed the Chris Van Vliet interview.
They brought her up twice in the last week on live television.
Have you? Or have they?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I would love it. Well, it'll be a reach on how they're going to use it, but
she was the best women's wrestler that the WWE ever had for the price they paid her because she was always the lowest paid wrestler. But I don't know, like what I kind of got from the interview is that she wants to go around the world as her new persona and do that for a while. But I think you're right. I think there's an avenue for Joe Gacy and all of them to come back at some point, whether it be for the Wyatt or as the Wyatt 6, I doubt. But them themselves as wrestlers, I'm sure there'll be an avenue.
I think it's just better to give nods to it and just let it lie where it is. We've seen it. It's got short runway. We love it, but it just has a short runway.
The only one that I will accept coming back and doing it is Bray's brother, is Bo Dallas. If he came back and wanted to do something as Uncle Howdy, I'm cool with it. But you're right. Everything else, just let it lie.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
They already fumbled that one.
And even still, there was something to it that as the weeks went on, I went,
they just screwed it up. They screwed it up in the
lack
beginning.
Of usage.
And it was and it's a creation and a renaissance for a different time that really fit
it.
Yeah, and it really fit a weird time that we were going through. But it's hard to.
It was promo overkill.
It was, and you could have overused them. Really, like you could have used them to the level of the Bloodline, where everybody was doing something stupid to run paths with these people, and they all just get leveled by the Wyatts, and then that leads to whatever you want it to lead it to. But
speaking of, I think I saw we have another Fatu debut.
Zilla, the one that
they've been talking about for a year.
Oh my god, dude!
I was laughing because someone posted a picture of him, and he looked almost like a little Japanese even. I wrote it Jimsuke Nakamuso.
Oh my god, that's good. No, this is Umaga's son. This is the young I think youngest son of
Okay.
Umaga. I might be wrong, but
They all do the same 4 moves.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
It's all the Samoan spike, Samoan drop. I get it. Zilla is just probably the next in line to be kind of that mid guy, like a Jacob Fatu.
This is why I hate Christmas music, by the way. For this very reason. It's not like
it's the same
I
thing,
argue
but
with
it's
my
different.
older brother about this. He loves it, and I go, look, I don't need to hear Michael Bublé and Justin Bieber and Usher. I don't need to hear 3,000 pop artists sing Silent Night. I've heard the song.
If you want Mariah Carey, I don't care.
I've heard the song. Why do I have to hear every pop artist sing the same damn 6 songs? And this is what we're running into with the Fatus.
Well, and
the Usos.
I think it's going to be interesting though, because all three, Jimmy, Jay, and Roman are all in their 40s and on their way out of their careers, whereas Jacob, Solo, and Zilla are all in their younger 30s. Zilla, I believe, is 26, and we're going to be seeing these guys for at least the better part of a decade.
Look how this guy does the super kick and the splash,
right?
And the drop and the
well,
drop.
That's what I'm kind of hoping. One of these guys, because Solo's kind of doing it. Solo's taking over the funny side, like what The Rock used to be with the mic. Yeah. Like making jokes at everybody, ripping them apart, being entertaining on the microphone. That's kind of his thing. I'm hoping Zilla finds something to kind of uniquely set himself apart from all the rest of the family.
Well, that was my last question, which goes back into the Solo, what you just brought up. What do you guys expect with Solo getting dragged into talk to Roman on Monday?
There's a rumor going around the internet right now that Solo and Jacob are both The Rock's agents, and that's going to be how this ends. Is The Rock comes out, tells Solo and Jacob to turn on the Usos, and then we finally get Roman and Rock before that ends and both their careers end. I think this goes more along the lines of LA Knight cashing in for Solo. LA Knight looks at Solo and says, look, we've worked together before. They screwed over our boy. Help me screw over your cousin. I'll get you out of the bloodline.
And then start the feud.
Well, and it's the weird thing. Like they've made this thing like the rules are the rules. Like with Jacob, like you have to if you're being delivered to the tribal chief because you lost, you have to accept it. And I'm so tired. I know you're right. It's going to happen. There's going to be this delivering ceremony, and
on Monday,
Solo's going to get in the ring, and he's going to be about to do that, and you're going to hear bow, 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 and then LA Knight's going to come out, and they're going to do. I'm sure that's how it's going to go, but it's like, how many weeks do I need to watch this 26 minutes start the show?
And so it was like, I told you, fool, to stick with me, but I mean, it's going to be the long, stretched out story. I personally think you're probably right, and I've thought the same thing with LA Knight. I said somehow, some way, LA Knight is going to have to save him and get him, out of that group. I don't know how much, knowing WWE, they're going to drag that on for a month or two before any of that happens, but
I do think because you brought this up last week, but after Raw on Monday, I don't know if you caught it, but LA kind of made allusion to what you said, which is him sneaking into that luchador tournament to get a shot at Roman. I think that's on the table, dude.
That would be fun.
I think El Fiscal, that last guy that's going against, I think, Rey Fenix, if I'm not mistaken, would not be surprised if LA Knight just grabs his mask, throws it on, and goes out there.
I still think they're going to feed LA Knight to Roman again. Just the way this is playing out, it doesn't look to me like they're going to give him the belt.
I know, and I agree with you, but I just feel like I said it a couple weeks ago. For LA Knight to win the belt is one thing, but he has to beat Roman. If he beats anybody else for it, it won't feel the same. Yep. It's kind of like Sami Zayn winning the belt after 10 years. Woo, we were all like, all right, cool. We can move on from this. He beat Cody Rhodes, but I mean, is he ever better than Cody? No. He didn't have to really get through Cody to get to the belt.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight every time has always had to go through Roman. If he does not beat Roman at some point, as a wrestling fan, it would go against everything wrestling stands for.
I agree.
Because we've always loved those stories of the underdog finally getting his comeuppance.
I agree.
Finally doing it.
Mm-hmm. And even just like you said, we just got the Roman beating Seth clean thing
finally
done. And everyone knew it was coming. It was a fastball right down the middle. And it's like, unless there's some interference, and they do it.
I honestly thought the DQ was coming. I'm not going to lie.
Which only means they were going to give him the clean defeat in a year or two.
Yes.
So we know at some point this is happening. I feel the same exact way about this LA Knight Roman, but I just don't have faith in them that they're going to do it.
It does give the stink of what they usually do. You're absolutely right. And But again, it could just be the predictability of it all, which we were talking about off air. But is this all becoming too predictable? I mean, Sparky had texted all of us yesterday. What do you guys think is going to happen on SmackDown today? And we all gave the same answers.
KG, Pitzer,
Yeah, and
all three of us in
we're,
here.
We're all abstract thinkers and pretty opinionated. So if we all have the same result, that's a problem.
Right.
And
that's
it shows probably why you both didn't watch SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was.
Well, I didn't watch this because I was busy.
That
last
was
night.
just.
I planned to watch.
You didn't
it as
miss
soon as I leave
anything.
here.
I mean, I stayed up until 1:30 packing, and I was like, I'll put it on in the back. And there was a couple. I was like, cool. And halfway through SmackDown, I mean, that was the biggest match of the night, and it was so many filled promos, and sometimes that's good, but I mean, we were talking last week, Flail, with the Smack or the Raw right after the last PLE was probably one of the best Raws I've seen in a while, followed up with one of probably the worst ones I've seen in a while. So there's so many things they're kind of juggling around.
It always seems every week WWE chooses one of the shows to just be so much better than the other two. And I include NXT in this too. And honestly, if we want to get there, AAA could probably be thrown in there as well. But I'm just more talking about the ones that are on TV. But every week, 1 week, Raw is incredible. NXT is like meh, and then SmackDown sucks. And then the next week, SmackDown's incredible, but Raw sucked and NXT was meh. And then NXT is incredible, and then both the other two sucked. And it's like, I don't know exactly what it is.
Well, they did sprinkle in a little tease that we're probably going to get Finn and Gunther in a match coming soon. And the way Finn pushed it, I was like, I'm kind of excited for it.
We need Finn Balor to win, though.
Yeah, I think he is.
At this point with Gunther's character, and I was hoping for it yesterday with Matt Cardona, Gunther's got to start losing.
Yeah,
because he's hit that point where, okay, we know you could fucking beat anybody who's got a belt. That's not
good
the problem.
On the mic. Yippee.
Yeah, you're good on the mic. But now comes the humbling stage. Now comes you're not as good as you think you are. That's why I thought it was going to start with Matt Cardona. Because could you imagine if Matt Cardona beat Gunther last night and actually set that tone and looked at him and said, you couldn't even beat me, someone who hasn't even had a shot since he came back yet. Like, I think that would be an incredible humbling moment.
And again, I don't know why they haven't used this yet, but I've been saying it for like a year and a half. He is the giant bully who's afraid of his own blood.
Yes.
And when he bled, he lost. So
no one makes me bleed my own blood.
You're right. You've got a dimension of weakness to play with there. So I would love to see Finn. Maybe the demon comes out. To beat
that'd
Gunther.
be great.
He hates
But
that.
here's, from a storyline standpoint, just in my opinion, here's where I think you may run into a catch-22 problem, Spark. If we get Finn beating Gunther, it kind of means we have to get Punker beating Kevin Owens.
I think it's already written on the wall.
I don't know,
I would
dude.
love to see Kevin Owens win, but it almost feels like they're either going to stretch this one out
and make it a
until
multi-match
this Orton shit goes away and all this other things. But
we're going to get Punk and Orton. We're going to probably get Punk and Finn again. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Punk and Gunther at some point as well.
Where's Drew McIntyre?
He's still filming.
Because we need that motherfucker back.
And he seems happy.
Highlander, if I'm not mistaken. So,
well, we definitely miss him. I mean, I'm not a huge Drew fan, but there's been times I'm like, dude, Drew would show up perfectly
I'd like
right
to see
now.
Drew get sent to Raw, to be honest with you.
That may be in the cards, because I was looking at it the other day, and Raw doesn't have a lot of big name superstars. They have a lot of the young talent, which is great. I love watching them develop together. But at the same time, I think we need to mix some of this up. There's too much going for the top belt in SmackDown, not enough going for the mid tier, and vice versa.
And you're going to have to have some more respectable giants in Raw. So we've got the Oba Braun thing setting up, but you're not going to be able to just have Oba squash everybody, and it's going to have to be a character that makes sense. And Drew makes sense.
Drew does make sense, and we've already gotten a little bit of a tease of it at that Saturday night main event with John Cena's retirement when the two of them faced off, and we still haven't gotten a payout for that yet. I still want to see the Braun Breaker Oba Femi situation end first, though. I think that's going to be one of those matches. They may end in a DQ just so neither of them have to lose, because I do think they see both of these men as the future.
Yeah, and I think if they have Oba run through him or Braun run through him the first time, I mean, then they're kind of screwed, because every Oba feud is going to have to go 1-1. And then have the big payoff in the third one.
That's
and I think they've got to do something different
Tell you
to
what,
bring
though.
him back down to reality.
Oba's going to have to get with that nutritionist, or we're about a year away from having to start. We're going to start making jokes. I saw on Twitter that he was at a house show when he did the thing with Danhausen. They had him backlit in the wrong way, and they filmed it at the wrong angle, and he looked like me getting ready to go to the gym. Right
Oh
there.
no!
I'm telling you right now, I know
So
what it's
good.
like. I know what it's like to have that belly and be able to hide it. I saw it. You got to get on the salmon. You got to get on the Roman Reigns salmon and broccoli diet, brother.
We'll see. I don't. Could you imagine that man shredded though?
You gotta do it.
You want to talk about a body transformation?
We love him right now, and you know how we are. We are fickle as fans. If this
Yes.
goes another 8 months, and I see a couple more of those, he looks a little too juicy, and he's put up against Braun and against the Drew McIntyre and against the Roman. We're going to start to see it.
We're going to have have Oba and Gunther at some point.
I'm waiting for Logan too, because Logan would be a hell of a match, and that is one of the few guys that kind of flies under the radar.
Hogan
but
Paul.
I miss the dude.
Hogan Paul. So before we wrap up, do you still have that question?
Yeah, it's a quick one.
Okay. What do you guys make of this internet rumor going around right now? There's real life beef between Braun Breaker and Logan Paul. Because I was reading this online that there might be, and again, I don't know how true this is. I don't think it is from everything that I've seen and like them interacting, but I don't see the two of them hanging out like I do Logan hanging out with everybody else, including his own faction mates and Theory and Bronson Reed. And honestly, their personalities, I don't see them meshing very well outside of the ring. So do you think there might be a little
Was this
bit,
like a Wrestle Ops type
I think
deal?
It was Wrestle Talk, if I'm not mistaken. And they're trustworthy, but there's a little bit of rumor. Logan himself, I think, came out and squashed it, said there's nothing about it.
Yeah.
So there might be nothing about it.
And I do think he is a well-functioning sociopath, so he might not know if there's a problem between them. To be fair,
that's what I was thinking. Is like, can we really trust Logan's judgments on this?
Yeah, if you've ever been friends with a sociopath, they're often the last to know that there's a bit of an issue. There's a bit of an issue going on. So there could certainly be that. I wouldn't be surprised if Braun's just disgruntled with the direction that everything is going and his continued alliance to these guys.
And it does seem like he's kind of being held back by the vision at this point, if I'm being honest. But again, both of them. Honestly, you're right. But again, from what little I know about the two of them in a personal sense, Braun seems very reserved. The guy likes to go fishing and really has a quiet lifestyle outside of what he does in the ring. Logan, very much the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So it really wouldn't surprise me if the two of them just personalities don't mesh outside of the ring.
Yeah, and this could just be a whisper down the alley of Braun's like, look, I don't have a problem with the guy, but I don't want to be a tag champion with you.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to do this.
Get this fucking belt off me.
Well, and honestly, yeah, that too. But think about it this way. We've had some incredible rivalries throughout our lifetimes as wrestling fans, stemming from real life fucking hatred. And honestly, one of them that really comes to mind for me, Matt Hardy and Edge. With that entire situation in real life, Edge, and what's her name cheating on Matt, we could be seeing the start of a really, really, really cool feud between the two of them for a while too, if this is real.
And it goes back to what I'm getting fed is the Kevin Owens and CM Punk. And that's where, I'm a KO guy till the end, but I just don't see the personality or the ego that CM Punk has that would allow them to let him lose to Kevin Owens.
So one of the things that I want to see out of Braun is, again, I'd love to see him separate from Logan, but also the way that they're playing into this angle with Paul, where he's jealous of who Paul talks to. If what a missed opportunity already to have a feud with Brock Lesnar because of that, because he was fine with that.
That I think was probably asked, but Brock, I could see saying, nah, I got one more run in me, and that's with this big boy over here.
But I hope they let this storyline evolve because right now Braun very clearly is jealous over Paul, but controllable by Paul because of it. I would love to see Braun drift into uncontrollable jealousy,
back to what he was when they first called him up.
Exactly. And when he looked at Paul Heyman, when he speared Seth Rollins and said, make a choice, you with them or you with us, I'd love to see him drift back into that, where you don't have a choice anymore. If you say something nice about Obafemi, you're dead.
Paul,
and now you know.
Dude, and Paul has taken some hits in the last couple of years just being a part of these storylines. Could you imagine him having to take a 23-mile-an-hour spear to the gut?
Oh yeah.
My God.
Oh yeah.
We may see a man die in the ring.
Well, I got to hit the road here
Yes.
shortly. So my thing is, and it was spirited by last night's SmackDown, but we've talked about, you know, our favorite belts in the WWE of all time.
Ooh.
But seeing this feather furry belt the bike rider dude was wearing,
Yes.
and he's not moving it back after. Usually I was like, okay, the first night I was like, oh, maybe he just hasn't switched it out with tricks.
Yeah, usually.
But now he's like riding it along, and I'm like, it's only one, he likes it, or two, that they're just holding it until Trick gets it back, which we're hoping that Trick is moving on from that title. But with them keeping it as the white furry belt, I wanted to ask you guys on our way out is, what is the worst belt that you've seen of all time?
God, hold on, I gotta look up a couple.
I mean, because the first three that came to mind is, one is the white furry one that he's got right now. The old Divas one, the purple Divas belt, was
the one
freaking horrible. The original one,
and stuff like that. That one wasn't great.
And then the last one for me was the taped up hardcore.
Oh, the hardcore belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
That Mark Mero and all that.
That was
the symbol of it. It was purposefully horrible. It was horrible, and I liked it. Same as the spinner belt.
Yes.
The spinner belt may be the worst belt of all time, but I kind of like it.
What?
And wasn't it the what was the other spinner? Was it Edge or something?
Edge is okay.
With the R?
That's the one that I don't care for. When Edge put his R in the middle of it, it made it look so tacky. Not that it wasn't tacky to begin with, but
yeah, I know what your favorite belt.
So what's the which one? The
$1 million belt.
I like the $1 million belt.
It's a great. It is an
incredible.
Someone
belt.
needs to bring that back.
Yes.
Maybe Trick.
And I also loved the Eagle,
perfect.
the Eagle Championship that Cody brought back for one night.
And one guy who hasn't been properly tributed in the modern times, Ted DiBiase. It could be a nice nod to him.
It could.
And I always liked that the blue Intercontinental that they did for a very short period of time with the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that's a good one. So my most hated ones, I hated the tag team belts a couple years ago when they were blue and red, with the silver, with the Spartan helmets in the middle and all that. Like, they just looked dumb to me. The 24/7 belt, super dumb. I've never liked the look of that one at all. And arguably, probably Edge, if I'm looking at it, Edge's spinner belt was probably the other worst one off top.
Do you remember when the women's title first came out and it was like as big to hold it like an action figure? It was like really tiny. And
well, that's what I was going to say. A lot of the women's belts I don't like just because they make them so small. And I don't know why. Even the Undisputed is too small.
Yes. Well, even that's why I kind of like the Divas belt that you don't care for. I liked it just because it was unique. My problem with the women's belt is it's always the men's belt, but smaller and white. Like, it never really has any uniqueness.
That's
to
right.
it.
No personality.
No personality. Exactly. So that's always my biggest problem with it. But that, I don't know, again, I really shouldn't speak for the women's side. But did you have one, my friend, that you were looking at that you hated? I mean, there's a couple outside of WWE I could throw in there, because there are some really ugly ones that I've seen throughout other companies.
Oh, I'm looking at your 24/7 belt.
No, the 24/7 belt was awful.
Pretty
the green
awful.
strap, just the circle. Like, the day Nikki Cross threw that thing away was one of the best days of my life. I said, yes, we're not dealing with them pinning each other on golf courses anymore.
This new one that Trick brought out, I liked it with Trick because it fit his personality, it fit his attire. But now that this guy,
if we're gonna continue it, you're right. Like, it's one of the worst belt combos ever. I wasn't crazy. I thought it was unique, but Naomi's glow belt looked ugly at times. Actually, you know what? No, I take it back. Bryan Danielson's, what did they call it at the time?
That was the herb one or whatever it was.
The world friendly belts. The I don't even know what they called it at the time, but that thing looked ugly as hell. It was like all woodsy.
The eco-friendly belt.
That's what it was.
Oh my God.
Belt.
Oh my! It's just wood.
Well, they even did one that was paper. Was cardboard at one time, and I can't again.
Okay.
There have been some questionable decisions.
Debate is over.
Yeah.
Eco-friendly belt.
I totally forgot about that until I started.
A sustainable belt.
Oh my God. All right. But that is all we got. I know
That's
Sparky's
it.
got to get to Fresno. Sir, it's always good to see you on Saturdays.
Always great to be here with you boys.
Go get your tickets for Bare Knuckle Championship next Saturday at Tachi Palace.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to get yourself or your kid into some jiu-jitsu or some martial arts or something, reach out to our guy JC, man. You can't learn from better people.
And if you're like me and you have old hips and you're weak and you don't want to do that, but you want to get free t-shirts as if you train there, get into show business, baby.
And our boys over at Warm Up Athletics as well. Go give them a look. They're awesome too. We got to get out of here for the day. We appreciate all you guys listening.